The most satisfying part of what I do as a filmmaker is creating a story and telling the story with dignity. When I got here at CUNY, I was given the opportunity to produce. And the first piece I produced was a hip hop piece. And it was about 40 years of hip hop in the Bronx.
I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke. Now I slam it when I'm done and make sure it's broke.
Hip hop created a musical landscape in the 70s and early 80s by giving New York or the Bronx, especially the Bronx, a musical foundation or a new start, because we were just coming off the 60s where the entire city was bankrupt. That environment kind of gave birth to hip hop.
I grew up with hip hop. Hip hop is the music of my generation. And so I said, this is going to be a passion for me, something I'm interested in, right? And I'm always interested not only in music pieces, but pieces that are socially and politically driven.
Coming from the disco era, you know what I mean, we were inner city kids. We couldn't get into disco, so we had to recreate that disco. And that's what basically hip hop started out as, like the bastard child of disco. I mean, it was our rebellion against that and our recreation of it at the same time.
You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello.
When you think about hip hop starting off in the South Bronx in the early 1970s, one of the big reasons that it did start was because, you know, people were looking for an outlet.
The turntables became our instruments. Like, so a lot of people in the inner cities, they didn't have money for instruments. So you had to find those sounds somewhere. So you dug through your pop's Cradle records and you just listening for these different instruments and sounds, and then you pulled from those different sounds and made a total new creation.
That piece was nominated for a New York Emmy, and I was really proud of that because it was my first piece at CUNY. It was a standalone segment. And, you know, that was the success of that piece. And from that, they gave me the confidence to do other stuff.
Memphis, Tennessee, which is named after Memphis, Egypt, is called the City of the Dead. And it's because in Egypt, literally 20 miles away, that's where they would bury all their dead.
I feel like if you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere. Because Memphis is one of the hardest places.
Memphis Majic takes a look at the DNA or the infrastructure of Memphis through the lens of a 30-year-old Memphis-born street dance called Jookin.
Jookin, Jookin, Jookin. They all say it wrong because I had spelled Jookin. What is this? Is this a book? Is this what is this? You know, you find us a dance, like what kind of dance?
Jookin can be attributed to Memphis rap. They never seen it before. They're like, what is he doing? It looks like breaking turbo, but it's not.
It's not like they dressed up like Michael Jackson and had to wear these magic loafers, you know what I'm saying? Like they were in Air Force Ones and Nikes just gliding across concrete.
You have these characters, i.e. the dancers, who tell their story about Memphis Jookin and about the city of Memphis. And then I juxtapose them with these historians and music historians about, you know, the history of Memphis and why Memphis is where it is today.
The buck jump is in us as like African Americans. The buck jump is this move. Like it has a lot of core in it and a lot of heart in it. And it's this stump. It's like this connection with the earth. It's this tribal kind of motion.
I think there's a big difference between, you know, reflecting what's going on and glorifying something. And I think you can see that, especially in my films. You can actually see that. You know, I don't glorify any negative stuff that goes on in our community, although I do talk about it because it needs to be talked about. And in a way that, you know, that connects everything together. I mean, it's stuff that's happening in our community. It's not happening just for no reason. You know, it's years of systemic racism that have led to a lot of this stuff.
There is a statute, which is a governmental order, that says we cannot disturb or defame or alter this heinous, hateful statute. It's on the books. It's on the books because white supremacists know symbols matter. Symbols communicate to us the world that we think is or is not possible. Symbols matter. And I know there's a lot of conversation about if this statue comes down, when it ends structural racism or white supremacy. No, it won't, and we know that. We're not naive. We ain't new to this. We true to this.
So why is it like that? And so I juxtapose their story with the history of Memphis and, you know, interweave it together in a way that is, you know, relevant to our times.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another.
I think it's a city wrought with challenges, but it's a place of hope, it's a place of promise and a bunch of possibility.
Learning Jookin is like learning part of the DNA of Memphis.